Hey guys, how's it going? I got a Chaos Spectrum here and I broke it trying to replace the screen. Actually, I don't know if it's actually broken. It does seem to be working other than the screen, but I messed up the soldering leads, so I'm not going to be able to try it again. But anyways, I'm going to show you guys how to disassemble it and reassemble it quickly. Alright, let's do this. Alright, step one. Peel that thing off, and you can use a hair dryer or something to warm it up. If you want to stick it back on, I have no clue how I would do that, but I don't want it anyway. Step two, there's 4 screws. 2 of them are under that plate, that's why we had to take it off. Anyways, loosen them and be careful because these are known for stripping out. As a matter of fact, one of the #1 complaints about this mod is the fact that this top always breaks off, and if that's the reason why you're taking it apart, you might be able to put epoxy and something in there and be able to drill new holes, but that's not why I'm taking it apart, so let's keep going. Alright, next, you got 3 screws. You got 3 Phillips screws. You got one there, and one there, and you need to unscrew them. Alright, once you get those 3 screws out, this thing should just pop right up. Try not to fling it everywhere because there are springs under this that you do not want to lose. And this is soldered to this board, so you do not want to be rough with this. You want to be very gentle. Alright, so after that, we're going to move to the other side. Alright, and here you got 3 of those same bit from earlier, and you're just going to unscrew those and pop that end off. Alright, once you got that end off, you're going to end up like this, except for there's going to be a panel there. Let me get my panel. I dropped it. Alright, so pretend the panel's here. Now, fortunately for you guys, I broke mine while I was learning how to disassemble it for you. So, there is a trick to getting this thing apart. You're gonna want a Phillips bit. And similar to how some other companies have done things like this, there are hidden screw holes under this panel that you can push through. There. And reveal the screw under. And you're going to want to unscrew those. Now, unfortunately, I broke mine while I was trying this, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to be like glued on there. But if you get your screwdriver under there and you pry it up, you should be able to get this out without taking this out. Do not try to take this out with this. That's important. Alright, then you can pop these screws out. This one's stripped for me, so don't worry about it. But for you guys, you should be able to pop them out just fine. Then you should be able to push that down like that. And this part is tricky. This is probably gonna be the hardest part, and I think this is where I goofed my own up. You need to make sure the screen is down and pushed right if your screen is not broken, because it will break if you put too much pressure on it when you're sliding it down and out. Ugh, I have to do this with 2 hands. Alright, we've mostly got it apart. Should be able to just lift this off. Oh, by the way, there are going to be magnetic buttons here. Don't lose those. I couldn't get them back in because I'd broken this, or I couldn't get it back, couldn't get this thing back in when I was trying to put it back together. But anyways, after that, oh, the solders for this already broke. Nice. Once you have the thing like this, should be able to pop this out a little bit. I mean, for me, mine's already destroyed because I don't know how to solder. Anyways, this thing and this thing, this is all the LEDs. And keep in mind there are these plastic bits in this. If they come out, your thing's gonna break, so don't let them do that. And when you put it back together, oh, by the way, this is where you're gonna be soldering. A couple of pieces of advice if you're going to be replacing your screen, because it's a pretty common issue. Don't use a solder gun bigger than the threads, and carefully research how you plan to disassemble this thing, because if you don't do it better than I did, then you're gonna break it even worse. And the screen should, here, let me show you an example, should lay flat like this and then flip over like that, so it'll be like this in the end, except for it'll be laying in this plastic tray, and then this will go over it in the end. And then you can follow these steps in reverse to put it back together. Let me think, is there anything else? No, I think that's mostly it. Hopefully you enjoyed this little tutorial I made. I don't usually do stuff like this, but I thought since it was broken anyway and no one else knows how to disassemble these things, I may as well do it. So I'll leave a link to the screen for this thing, even though it's going to be impossible for me to replace it because I destroyed all the leads when I was trying to do this. But if you have any tips for me next time when I'm trying to solder this, be sure to let me know in the comments. And hopefully you don't break your vape when you're trying to disassemble it. Alright, so I've just removed the screen and it was right here. All I literally did was just took my solder gun and literally I just put it there and pulled on it until it came off with it heated up. And then next what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking a little piece of paper, covering a little tiny bit of flax, and then I'm going to rub it over those. Alright, what I've done next is I've used some flux and spread it over these pins. These are the pins for the screen. They clearly say LCD on them. Can't really see it, but it says it right there. There we go. Anyways, next step is to solder. We'll see if I can do it. Just Google FPC soldering. You should find some results. I'm not an expert solderer. We'll see if it works out. So here's a perfect example of how not to do it. So some big mistakes, some big no-nos that I made. Don't use solder thicker than the leads. And I guess you could, but it'll be easier if you don't. And don't use a piece of crap solder gun like I did.